This is going to be a tutorial showing you guys how to actually print your own 3D models. So I guess to simplify this, there's several ways for you to get your STL files onto this computer back here. Mine, I just put my Sketchup file onto Google Drive, and so I'm just going to download it quickly. And this is just a sample game piece that I made. Okay, let's put it, I'm going to put everything on the desktop for now so that I know where it is. So there's my sample 3D print. I'm now going to open it in SketchUp. Remember that we want to work in millimeters for this. So I'm going to scroll down here, get my millimeters. And there is my sample game piece. Nothing fancy. At this point, if I'm still happy with it, you may want to run the solid inspector one more time. I just did that a second ago, so I'm not going to do that right now. And I'm just going to File, and I'm going to export the STL version of this now. Okay, so it wants to right now export it as this .dae. I want it to come out in the STL file. There it is. And we're still going to put it on our desktop. I can minimize this. I can minimize this. Sample 3D print. Excellent. The program that we're going to use for the CR-10 is the Ultimaker Cura. So I double click that program right there. Oh shoot, that's not the program, that's the icon. Okay, fixed that icon now for you guys. So here's the program. So you double click that to open it. It should show that loading in. That'll take just a second. If this comes up, you say that you agree and consent. If it asks you to install the printer, we just go down here to Other, and we want the Creality CR-10 right there. And then we hit Add Printer, and we are now connected. Okay, so here's where we go up to this folder right here. Click on the folder. Remember, everything that I saved was on the desktop. And there is my sample print. I'm going to open that. And you can see now that we are good to go. Okay, a couple of things in here that are a little bit different than normal. To orbit, I hit the right click button and I hold it, and that allows me to kind of spin around. The right click button is just how I select things. Zooming is by the scroll wheel, and if I push in on the scroll wheel, then it's kind of like the hand that allows me to move that, and then I can get a little bit better look of everything I'm printing. Looks good here. Okay, and then over here we have some settings. And again, we're on the Prepare tab, not the Monitor tab for now. So we want to prepare this. Okay. Recommend, we'll go with that. Layer height, we're going to leave everything normal. Infill is what we change here is if we want it more solid or less solid. And this kind of gives you an idea about it. 100% is totally solid. Down here at 10%, our spider web gets pretty wide. You know, we see how it gets a little bit thicker in there, and so that's the solid surfaces. If you have a really solid block, we may want to turn it down really low. I'm going to put mine at 20%, and that's probably where you should leave yours at. You can generate support if you need to. This one, because there's no overhangs, really shouldn't need much extra support or anything like that. If for any reason you need to change the size or anything like that, this first tab just allows me to move the model all over. That doesn't really matter as far as where it prints on the bed, and you can do a controlled move also. So I'll leave mine pretty close to the zeros that it was at before. Matter of fact, I'll zero it out. Okay, and here we have scale. So this is where we would change the size of it. Now the size is a little bit deceiving simply because right now my model is laying down. But if you do need to change it, here's where you change it. If you need to orbit it, that's where we would orbit it. I didn't want to do that, but that's just showing you that. If I need to mirror it and flip it, I can do all those different things. I don't have to worry about much of that right now, okay? So next thing I'm going to do, my material you can leave alone, that's PLA. I'm ready to prepare my print. So I click on that, and it says that it's slicing, okay? And it's all done. And basically what it's telling me here is that it's going to take an hour and 12 minutes. And there are options how to print. We can save to file. This printer is actually hooked up to the USB. And so now that I've got it installed, all I have to do is click this button right here. And when I click that, it goes from preparing to the monitor tab, okay? And now this screen has turned into a way just to simply watch the status of how our print is doing. So right here it's telling me at first what we're working on is we are going to preheat the build plate. So it's right now at 16 degrees. It's got to get to 60. And then this is the extruder, which is the little point that the plastic comes through. That hasn't gone yet. It's going to heat up the bed first, and then it's going to go to this. So all this is going to take a while before my print actually starts. But as far as you're concerned, the computer side of things is now finished. Okay, so this is picking up just where we left off on our screencast here. And so I haven't hit print yet because I wanted to show you how everything looks on this side of things, right? So I've got my 3D printer on right now. It simply says that, you know, right now this is the temperature that they are currently, and they need to get to this. And so really what it's saying is nothing has really begun yet. So I'm going to go ahead and hit and click print again on the computer so that now you see what this is going to look like once you hit it, and then eventually what our 3D printer will do. So I've just clicked on print, and now it's kind of slicing everything and then sending it over. And so you see we already have a couple changes. It now says that the bed is heating, and now it's saying that it wants to get to 60 degrees Celsius. It's currently at 18, and this will take quite a while for this to heat up. And so we're going to stop, but this is just telling you that this is where we're at, and this is where we want to get to. And you remember when I showed you on the screencast what that looked like on that side of things, where it was monitoring the bed heat there also. And so I'll pause this, and then I'll start it again in a moment when it's ready to start printing. So we're back at our CR-10 here to kind of check on the status of things. And if you see here in the bottom left of the screen here, we see the screen to our 3D printer. And it says that the bed, which is this right here, is now up to 59 degrees Celsius out of the 60 degrees Celsius that it's trying to get to. And so if you were to put your hand on the bed here, you're going to feel that it's quite warm. It's not going to burn you, but it is pretty warm. The tip under here, however, when it starts heating up, it's going to get to like 220. And if you were to touch that or bump that, it's most definitely going to burn you. Talking about the differences between this machine and then the Dremel on the other side, our bed stays at the same height. It does not go up. It just moves in and out this way. You'll notice that when it starts printing. And then the actual extruder goes up as it builds our model. We have a much bigger print surface. We can go much higher in this one. The reason that it takes so much longer is simply to heat up this bed. That does take it quite a while to do. As you can see, we're still stuck at 59 degrees. So this one's a little bit slower initially to start, but once it gets going, it's about the same speed as our Dremel. Just like I said, a little bit slower in terms of getting going and things like that. And there's some ways that we can preheat it, and I can talk to you guys about that. I'm not going to cover that in this video. I was hoping that it would hit 60 degrees here so that I could show you when it switches over to start heating the extruder down. Okay, and so we're back here just so I can show you again the status here. Our bed is now up to the heat that it wants to be. It's at 60 degrees Celsius out of 60 degrees Celsius. And we can say that it's now heating the extrusion tip. It's trying to get to 200 degrees, and it's 81. This will heat up quickly, 82, 84, and then we'll come back and show you as it starts printing. And we're back here at CR-10. We can see now that we're at almost at 190 out of the 200 degrees Celsius that we're trying to reach. And then this printer will get going as well. So I just want to kind of be here to film everything so that you see kind of the beginning process. Once it starts printing, everything's good to go, and you just kind of have to sit and wait, and you can watch it if you want, kind of monitor, make sure nothing happens. But really it's just a waiting game at that point. 196. So we've reached our temperature and our print should begin here anytime now. And now you can see it kind of zeroing out here in the corner, and that will get everything going. So on both printers, you'll see that it runs a bead of our filament around the outside of it. And really what it's kind of doing there is it's cleaning itself, getting any leftover plastic off there, and also working on bed adhesion, making sure everything's up to the right temperature and things like that. But basically now it's just a waiting game. Here we are at the CR-10 again. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on how things are going. So you can see now that the printer has got the base going and is kind of started on the bottom of the 3-leaf clover as well. If you look over in the bottom left hand of your screen, we can kind of see how long things have been printing, all that good stuff. And the other thing I wanted to show you, and forgive me, this is going to be a little bit of a shaky move here, is if we see the computer screen, and that's kind of telling us how things are. Up here we see the temperatures of things, and down here we can see that what we're printing, how long it's going to take, the updated time. It preheated a little slower than they thought, and so we've got about an hour left on this one. Another update on the CR-10, you can see that we've been printing for 33 minutes. Our temperature is maintaining where it needs to be. Prints are moving along nicely. If you can see over on the screen, you may not be able to make that out, but it estimated the total time at 1 hour and 56 minutes. And it's saying that we've been printing for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So that leaves us with about 43 minutes left in order to do this whole print. Okay, so this print has now finished up on the CR-10 machine. And so again, show you quickly how to get the parts off. We grab our scraper. This one you don't have to take the bed off for. We just do it really carefully. We kind of work our way around. And just by working my way around, if you get a little tape off there, that's okay. Then you're all done. Okay, here is our final product. A little dirty from my hands, but you can see very nice quality.